And I think this brings you back on, Alex, with some more local news.
Yes, Brian, I've been taking people to faraway climes for most of this news. So let's bring it right back to the West Country, but the other side of the peninsula from where you're sitting. Thanks to our own Kenny, we know that Bude in North Cornwall has not one, but 2 juries to sit in judgment over their peers. But these are not juries of a Crown Court, much less of a district court. No, they are a youth mini jury and an area community jury. Now, this is sortition, alias aleatory democracy, because 18 minors aged under 16 and under, were chosen at random. That's what sortition or aleatory democracy means, to sit on a jury, cheapening the word by twisting its definition, to share their own lived expertise, according to journalist James Davies here. They were also briefed by 7 so-called experts, and rather laughably, expert was put in inverted commas by Mr. Davies by mistake, so that he's almost, giving the game away that these people are, just one side of the argument. Professor Mark Baldwin, Professor of Climate Science at Exeter University, and Skye Neville, campaigner with Kids Against Plastic Tat, were 2 of those 7 experts who told the teenagers it's awful, we should be doing more for the climate, etc. So that is reported by the Bude and Stratton Post. If you don't know what all the fuss is about, just type in democracy into ukcolumn.org's search function, the magnifying glass or the search bar, and you will see that we've gone into this in a lot of detail of the many kinds of appalling false versions of democracy. I think this aleatory one is the worst, because it involves people being told by hand-picked briefers for one side what they should be thinking, a bit like a courtroom which is briefed only by one side. It wouldn't fly in a court of law, but apparently it's good enough to rule over us. A viewer has sent this. The link will be in the show notes as well. UK 100, an organisation which propagandizes and has signed up almost all of our local councils now, is sending this survey out. Time's running out to have your say on the future. Apparently climate change, as in the interests of all these well-paid organisations, must be put at the heart of the devolution agenda. In other words, we must be getting the councillors and the council staff's head in every part of the United Kingdom full of climate emergency before more money and power is somewhat unlawfully, in many cases, devolved from His Majesty's government in Westminster to various regions of England, as well as Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. Now, follow this link through if you would like to from the show notes, because, look, it's all panic questions. What do you think is the problem? Why aren't we doing enough about this climate emergency? But look, there is a facility called Other at the bottom of each of these questions, where you can give them in polite and factual and reasoned terms what for their nonsense, if you so desire, and you don't have to put your name in either. So do that before the deadline, which is quite soon. North Yorkshire, we've mentioned already in the news, has something even worse. Open North Yorkshire. Thank you to a long-term viewer whom we've quoted here before, who tells us that he found out by chance that his local council there were running a scheme called Open North Yorkshire, which they described as behavioural change about climate change and net zero nonsense. So he took it upon himself to ask them, with a Freedom of Information request, which we'll see in a moment, what else they were doing in regard to behavioural change. And you will recall, Brian, that we have covered similar from the West Midlands before. One of the local councils there had an FOI served on them by a local resident in this particular regard. So there are several, perhaps most of our municipal bodies by this stage, who have behavioural change units. And if you're a regular viewer who knows about this, why aren't you asking and trawling for what your own council has on this and sending it in to us, because it is quite telling. So here is a document, which will be in the show notes too, which was produced by North Yorkshire in the first year of coronavirus hubbub towards the end of 2020, the final report on using behavioural science to support communication campaigns. It's more milquetoast than some of the things we've seen, certainly nothing compared with the Spy B equivalent at national government level. But the graphics tell us a thing or two. I don't know, Brian, whether you would be interested in having healthy thinking patterns courtesy of your local authority, but that is something that North Yorkshire Council can help with. And perhaps you're not altruistic enough, but you would be if your local council in Devon appealed to your sense of altruism. Well, if you live in the North York Dales or Moors, you can benefit already from this beauty. But the problem is, and this will be in the show notes too, the FOI in question by the viewer asked the council to provide to him all details of behavioural change programmes as per the point which I won't read. And they omitted to send him the document which I have just shown you. They did not put that into their FOI response. Perhaps a bona fide omission or something else, who knows. This is likely to be repeated in your own case, so go ahead and find out what's happening in your own area. And in the west of Wales, we find the same, well, not the same, but in a similar area of concern, which is grooming, sex education going into the content of the curriculum. Wales, as we've covered, does not have opt-outs so that children can be pulled out by their parents from unsuitable materials. The Western Telegraph reports, and look, it's the local democracy reporter, a BBC-funded person, Bruce Sinclair in this case, who's reporting this, that parents have now been saying to the council, we have concerns about our children being grooming. There's plenty more to go on there, but wherever you are in the United Kingdom, you should be, of course, following this up actively with your council.
Alex, thank you very much. Troubled times, and a lot of people in the chat box talking about the sheer chaos and mayhem that's clearly being orchestrated